Anderson, and the Showboats have won it in overtime. Going to hand this off up the middle for Marable. He's going to fumble. Ball's loose, and St. Louis picks it up. That will do it. The Battlehawks defense makes a play late. Game on the line, looking to throw. Has time. End zone, incomplete. It's incomplete. The Stallions hang on to win. For overtime, DeLeo to throw, pass, caught by Roland, needs some help. Not gonna get it, he stopped a yard short. Houston will pull off the upset. Looking to throw, has time, deep, right side, overthrown, picked off. It's intercepted by Keenan Isaac. He's gonna need it right there. They hand this off right side for Roland. They convert the 10-5. Chris Roland, I should shut up. Chris Roland touchdown. That's the dagger. Knicks toss left side and there's room. Has past the 30, past the 40, past the 20, 15, 10, 5. RJ Harvey. There we go. One play. Just need one play out of you. Gonna play action and look to throw. Mariota, sometime. Pass, intercepted. It's picked off. Yes, yes. One play was all they needed. Jack Jones. Williams, play action. Rolling left, looking to throw. Has time. Pass, end zone, intercepted. It's Keyshawn Nixon calling game. Darnold to throw. Has time. Pass, wide open. Over the middle. The Seattle Seahawks do it. Play action, looking to throw. Williams has some time. Pass deep. Over the middle. Has a man. It's DJ Moore. Touchdown, Chicago. They win in overtime. Snap good. Hold good. Kick up. And he missed it. Wide right. The Steelers will host Houston on Monday night. Williams in shotgun. Back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. 4th and 4. Trip to Seattle on the line. Man in motion. Williams looking to throw. Pressure coming. Rolling left. Trying to buy some time. Back near the 40. Pass left side. Williams is caught. Touchdown Chicago. Cole Kmet. Somehow the magic remains. What? May looking to throw in 3rd and 6. Rolling left. Gonna take it himself. And that will do it. A first down carry. It's a gain of 7. And the Patriots have booked their ticket to Santa Clara. Zeros on the clock. The Seattle Seahawks, for the first time since 2014, are your NFC champion. Hello, everybody, and welcome on in. The championship game, the United Bowl, kicks off here momentarily. The DC Defenders looking to go back-to-back. Louisville Kings in their first ever season in the UFL, looking to make a instant impact and an instant splash and win it all. Should be a fun game. Jason Bean going against his former team for the first time. This Louisville team been red hot since week 5, since they got rid of Jason Bean. This should be a fun one. Kick off here momentarily from DC. And what's a pretty packed day of sports, all things considered. We have the UFL Championship going on right now. The World Cup has now started as well. And then tonight is Game 5 of the NBA Finals. It's going to be a fun day of sports. Welcome on in, everyone. Kick off here momentarily. Yeah, I'm gonna be keeping up with what US does in the World Cup, but for the most part, I'm more so leaning I'm watching this. I'm be watching Game 5 tonight. We're nearing this proper summer months for me, where I'm trying to not really watch a lot of sports, which is good, but it also means it's gonna be a month or so, maybe 6 weeks window where not a lot's going on, but it'll be fun. That was a insane hit earlier in the season, but I also kind of sparked a little something in Louisville, so we'll see. But time will tell with it. I believe the league is viewing DC as the home team today, which makes sense. The game is in DC. But at least for me, they're the lower seeded team, so I'm having Louisville be quote unquote home team. But yep. Kickoff moments away. I had to very hastily make a depth chart for this game because the league did not send out a proper one, so I just combined the two from Sunday's games for this. So the reports were that it is a sold out game in DC today. We'll see as things go on and as the first quarter goes on, we'll see how filled up that stadium gets. But either way, it's going to be pretty much a home field advantage situation here for DC. So we'll see if the Kings can handle it. They won in DC earlier this season, the game where Derek Roberson flipped Chandler Rogers. So that was a great hit. It did kind of again spark something in Chandler Rogers and that Louisville offense that week. We'll see if we'll see how this game goes. Yeah, with this being the championship, I have started the NFL offseason stuff that begins next week. And every time I end up writing for that, I always remember some of the weird moves that were made very early on in the offseason. Like with Miami, for example, Mika Fitzpatrick being traded to the Jets was one of those things where I just completely forgot that happened. That's because it happened like as soon as the offseason began. But yeah, the NFL offseason stuff will begin next week with the Eastern divisions being first. We got Chandler Rogers and Jason Bean. This should be a good one. Especially again, that DC defense and what they've been able to do this year. This Louisville defense and what they've been able to do. These two teams match up pretty closely. So I'm expecting it to be a fantastic, hopefully better than last year's championship game that DC absolutely dominated. And hopefully better than the first year's championship game where Birmingham absolutely dominated San Antonio. But we'll see. We will see. And then, yeah, 50 Cent, the halftime show today. That should be interesting. Especially if it is a sold-out crowd like it's expected to be. I think it'll be 50 Cent wearing a Derek Roberson jersey. Again, Audi Field does seem pretty filled. Again, the reports were that it was sold out. That's what Michael Poli said the other day, was that it was a sellout crowd. Which makes a ton of sense. Yeah, the other show in the slide back in week 4 against Houston that pretty much caused Jason Bean to get traded. What do you? Well, so the past 2 seasons, the championship game was in St. Louis, and the hope was that the Battlehawks would make it and they can sell out the Dome in America Center for the championship game. St. Louis didn't make it any of those 2 seasons. They put it in DC this year with the hopes that DC will make it. They did. So I fully expect this to be like a true, proper sellout. Because it's not very often you get to see your home team potentially win a championship on their home turf. For now, it doesn't seem fully filled just yet, but we'll see as we get closer to kickoff and everything. The first quarter begins to unfold. Yeah, we will see. I do like how for these playoffs, ABC has given the UFL a proper like in studio look for like the pregame and for the halftime stuff. That's been a nice touch. Now, again, I wouldn't be shocked if the league bought a few tickets and gave them out. That's what they should be doing, but we'll see. I have never really watched soccer, so I don't have a say. And it's never excited me. But I will say, like baseball during the playoffs can be really fun. I don't really watch NASCAR or golf though. Again, like the summer for me typically, which is where we're about to fully hit properly. It's a time for me to like step back from sports a bit. Obviously, like I'm still gonna be the videos and stuff, but like I'm not gonna have to be watching anything, which is gonna be nice. Even though I do plan on something for the summer to release that involves me watching some old games. Yo. Welcome on in. Kick off momentarily. It's also like just to catch up on like video games and stuff that I haven't been able to like properly play due to having to be live on the weekends. So now that my weekends are back free, I'm able to do a lot more. Yeah, kickoff underway here soon. All right, doing the national anthem now. But yeah, again, it's a full day of sports. I think tomorrow as well is game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals, which the Stanley Cup Finals have also been fantastic so far. Like it's been a good past month or so of sports. But yeah, I like how they painted the midfield for United Bowl, but unlike years past, they don't have the end zones painted with the teams. That's kind of unfortunate. I imagine the broadcast will fill in properly, same way that they've have that the field's been painted in years past. But we'll see. All right, taking their time with kickoff for this one. This game might run a bit. Yep. Kickoff a few moments away. One that potentially could. At least yeah. It's been 7 days, 6 days since the last time these two teams played. These depth charts wouldn't have changed too much from the playoffs. Okay. I saw that Scott Foster is the lead ref tonight for Game 5, which it could be good, could be bad for New York. You know, the Knicks are 10-0 last 10 games with him as a lead ref, but also he's known as the extender. The league would 100% want to get to a Game 6 and have MSG back out there for when the Knicks win. It's gonna be interesting. Louisville is still red hot. The DC, it fully depends on Jason Bean. If they can get a similar performance as they did last week from Jason Bean, they have a chance. If they get something more aligned with week 10 or even his first month of the season when he was with the Kings, it's gonna be tough for DC to pull it out. It fully depends on that offense and if Jason Bean can get things going. Yeah, so far it's looking like a great crowd. I still expect it to fill up a bit more as the first quarter begins and we get about halfway to the first quarter. But it was reported to be a sellout, which is what I was expecting. So I don't know. Louisville's offense hasn't been turning the ball over like that the past few weeks. We'll see. Yeah, it's more in line with that, which hopefully this game is gonna lead to more consistent crowds like this for DC. Because that's the thing. Again, the three main markets for this, well, there's obviously more now, but beginning of the season, the three main markets were Birmingham, St. Louis, and DC. And at times, all of them showed up, but towards the end of the season, it was a bit rough for them. That was the other thing. Earlier, I think it was earlier today or yesterday, Mike Rapoli talked about expansion and the league's outlook for next season. And he said that there's an 80% chance that all the teams are going to be the exact same next year, which is nice. And he also mentioned some potential expansion cities. One city of note that was not mentioned by Mike Rapoli to be the second expansion city in 2028 was Michigan. He did not mention them, which is not a great sign, but you never know. Yeah. Oh yeah, so Kings are the home team. They chose to wear their away uniforms due to the weather and the heat. As it's an 88-degree day, feels like a 96-degree day, was what was just shown on the broadcast. It will be DC getting the ball first for the United Bowl 3, as I'm going to call it, because we're going to hopefully get towards that. Kickoff underway, and the championship game has begun. Kickoff return beginning from the 15, spaced out past the 20, 25, past the 30, 35, and eventually brought down near the 36. Eric Ezukanma on the return, and DC will begin from there. So out comes Jason Bean. Had a good showing last week against the Storm, but this is going to be a different battle for him. Yeah, the signs are pointing towards Michigan not being back in 2028, which is not good. Like, they 100% deserve to be back, and the fan base would gladly rally behind them if they're back. But it doesn't seem like that's the way forward, which sucks. Bean in shotgun back to his left, two receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off, going right for Deion Jackson, will be met at the line for no gain. So it's the Kings defense making the first play of the United Bowl. I don't know. The United Bowl sounds so much like a college football bowl game to me, where it's tough. I'm gonna probably struggle to keep calling it United Bowl 3 consistently. Yeah, I saw New England was mentioned by him, and yeah, that could work. Again, we'll see. Bean in shotgun back to his right, three receivers to the left. Quick pass left side, caught by Ty Scott. Going to be a gain of about 4 or 5. Going to mark him roughly at the 40-yard line. Yeah, it should be a gain of 4. 3rd and 6 coming up. I mean, a game like this, every drive is going to matter, so. Jason Bean in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Man in motion, right to left. Going to look to throw once again. Pressure coming. Bean dump off right side. Going to be incomplete. Louisville wanted it to be called a backwards pass, but nonetheless, it's going to be a 3 and out for DC to begin the United Bowl. So a great job for this Kings defense come out here early and making a big time play. Was that? No, it's not backwards. Cornell Powell at the backfield was the intended target. So out comes Paxton Brooks to send this one away. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 11. Gets out past the 20, past the 25. Base past the 30 and brought down to the 34. Great return for Lucky Jackson. And there's some pushing and shoving going on afterwards. These teams do not fully like each other for good reason. But out comes Chandler Rogers now. Yeah, they haven't made a deal with the Detroit Soccer yet. So I think the good news is that they seemingly have not made a deal with any other city to be a proper second team yet for 2028. So there's still time for Michigan to come back, but I mean, we already know that there's a ton of cities out there that are clamoring for a team. So the Michigan's going to need to have a pretty good offer if the UFL is going to come back there. Rogers and shotgun back behind him. 3 receiving options to the left. Ball on their own 34. First play for the Kings is going to be a handoff up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of about 3. Maybe 4 yards there for James Robinson on the carry. Like one of the markets that Rapoli mentioned was Utah. And I love the idea of Salt Lake City getting a UFL team, but I feel like they should be a part of the Western push later down the line. So we'll see what their mindset is. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. Gonna quick throw, right side, caught by Isaiah Winstead. Gets one nice block and gonna fight his way for a gain of about 4. Gonna make it a 3rd and 2-ish on the bubble screen. So now the Kings with an early 3rd down test. All right. It's a 3rd and 3. Yeah, 3rd and 2. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. Ball on their own 42-yard line, just about. Man in motion, right to left. Rogers going to look to throw. Pass right side, caught for the first and going to be brought down right around midfield. It is Trey McKitty on the grab, the former Cincinnati Bengal. And the Kings move the chains. Yeah, I didn't see the bull. That was a risky throw from Chandler Rogers, but it works. I saw Express get trademarked. I did not see Bulls. Do you know what city that was for? Because I missed that being trademarked. Or if it was just like UFL Bulls being trademarked, I could see that. Rogers in shotgun, back behind him. Handoff up the middle, going to be stood up at the line of scrimmage for no gain, right back to midfield for James Robinson. Just Bulls? Okay. So yeah, even with that though, we can probably figure out where they intend the team to be then. Because not every city it would make sense to have a Bulls for a team mascot. I would imagine that's in place for. I know he said Austin was a team was a market they wanted to try and properly get, so I could see that being where, but I just don't think 3 Texas teams make sense in this league. Rogers to throw in 2nd and 10, pressure coming, rolling left, trying to get to sideline, gonna be able to and be out of bounds just past the 45 at around the 43. Good scramble for Chandler Rogers, gonna put them into field goal range for Tanner Brown. As he hit from 63 last week in the playoffs against St. Louis, so I guess that was in a dome. So, grain of salt, maybe a yard or so on his leg. I've seen a ton of people clamoring for Little Rock to get a team, and I'm not opposed to that. They were an honorable mention for me last year when I did my expansion video. Rogers pass over the middle is slightly behind and incomplete, looking for Isaiah Winstead. The drive stalls out just past midfield on a 4th and 5. So them being at the 45-yard line, yeah, this is not in field goal range. Is it? I feel like a lot of people are thinking Birmingham is a team that's going to relocate potentially next year. I could see Houston being on the move. All right, they're going to go for it on 4th and 5. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right, 2 receivers to each side. Going to look to throw. Rogers with some time, passing deep left side. There's a man wide open, but misses him. Overthrowing Tariq Black. And the Kings turn it over on downs at the 45-yard line. So DC will start from there. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking with them. I think Hoover Met is the first step. And if they still struggle to sell tickets for Hoover Met, then you would think about moving them. But you have to keep the Stallions as long as you can. As we're just heading to a commercial break. Rapoli also re-mentioned Boise as a place he wants to go to. So I think that's inevitable at this point that Boise will get a team. The question is, will that be due to relocation with the Stallions most likely, or would that be expansion? I would imagine expansion at this point. Because again, I think if you do a 4-team Western push in Boise, Salt Lake City, Portland, and San Diego, I think that's a very good start to go west with. But obviously it depends on if you can get ownership groups for those teams, stadium rights, and everything. So we'll see. So we're at commercial break. I'm going to sit back down. Opening drives for both teams wanting to stand. I'm sure by the final 2 minutes of this game, I would want to stand again. I was kind of shocked that he didn't directly mention. Well, yeah, he mentioned New Mexico. I'm kind of shocked he didn't directly mention Portland. But at the same time, I'm like, I feel like Portland's obvious at this point, especially with how fantastic the crowd has been at Portland Fire games for the WNBA. I would love to see Portland get a football team. I think that would make too much sense. Same with San Diego. I could see Arizona. I know I have a friend who wants to see the league bring back, what was it, the Hot Shots from the AAF. So I could see Arizona. Again, it just depends on. It depends on how the league views these markets. I think they see the success with Louisville and Columbus, and they're going to be chasing to replicate those again. That's why OKC is getting the team. That's why he mentioned Boise. Yep. The AAF had some fantastic branding. It's just unfortunate the league only lasted 6 weeks. Like, they had a ton of good team names. Yeah, I saw that Harden report. He's also out on bail, I believe, only like $100. So I don't expect much to come from that. I may I kind of feel that's too close to the Minnesota Frost of the PWHL, but you never know. I mean, yeah, if the league didn't want to buy the rights for the Orlando Apollos, they're not going to buy the rights for the Hot Shots, which is unfortunate. All right, just coming back from commercial break, Bean in shotgun back to his left, gonna hand this off, going right for Deion Jackson. Gonna be a gain of about 2. Not much else to work there. Yeah, I have the Kings winning as well. I needed to stick with them after being so high on them back in week 1. All right, Bean in shotgun back to his right, 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Deion Jackson once again, and there's space. Up past the first and more, past the 40, 35, and brought down right around the 33, maybe 34-yard line. But there's the first big carry for Deion Jackson. I am gonna expect a good chunk of those this week. The last time these two teams played, this DC ground game went for 218 yards. So I expect some similar stuff in this. Bean in shotgun back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Deion Jackson once again. And it's a gain of about 3, up to roughly the 30. I mentioned Colorado and Denver in the first expansion video. I could see that. I could see that's where they put the Bulls name, but I think they saw the success in Columbus and Louisville, and even like a little bit in Orlando. And they're going to be chasing those very similar markets. Bean play action looking to throw in 2nd and 7. Pressure coming and sacked. It's a loss of roughly 2. And it's the first sack of expecting many for this Louisville defense today. It is Daniel Grezak on the sack. This is where I wish I had the pronunciation guide pulled up. I stopped using that a few weeks back. All right, 3rd and 8. Bean in shotgun back to his right, 3 receivers to the left, going to keeping himself up the middle. Design QB keeper that only gains a yard. It'll be a 4th and 7. And out comes Matt McCrane. Reported earlier today by James Larson, I believe is the name. I definitely should be remembering this because he's the main UFL reporter online. But Matt McCrane apparently has 4+ NFL opportunities lined up for after this game. As the 48-yard kick is up, and it is good. DC's on the board first. Real solid start for the defenders in this. I put that to the wrong team. I'm tricking myself with... There we go. I mean, I obviously they won't bring back the Salt Lake Stallions directly, but I could see them going back to Salt Lake City. Yeah, it's a good start to this for DC. Obviously, kind of want the offense to be going a bit better, but you take points early on in this one. Yeah, with Matt McCrane set up to be having a good chunk of NFL opportunities lined up after this, I expect the same will be for Tanner Brown. It would just make too much sense. Oh yeah, announced last night, Jack Plummer, as expected, UFL MVP. That's not really a big surprise there. No, it ain't gonna be enough so far, but it's a good start. Just how do you build off of it? Alright, there's the ABC commercial for tonight's Game 5. Still can't believe the Knicks won Game 4. That was something. Oh, I missed this from yesterday. UFL president Russ Brandon says to stay tuned and that the announcement for the 10th UFL franchise is to be expected soon. That is very interesting. If we get the 10th franchise announced before the start of next season, that is probably best case scenario for the league because it's going to allow them to target marketing there a year in advance and it'll be perfect. Yeah, points is points, and the amount of times I've watched games where teams do not take the points and it ends up costing them is too much to count. That's why for the most part, when I play college football or Madden, I try to take the points. Yeah, again, it doesn't sound like it could be the Panthers, but the fact that they're nearing the announce, I mean, it could actually be them. Like maybe that's the reason he didn't mention Michigan, is that they already have stuff in place. But we'll see. Orlando last week for one. There was another team earlier this season. The NFL, it happens way too much. I know Miami has lost countless games due to not taking points, and it's annoying each and every time. Tony Fields of Columbus gets a workout with the Bears. Doesn't seem like anything has came from the Miami workout of Major Burns, sadly. All right, just coming back from a commercial break. DC set to send this one down. Yeah, taking the points should be pretty straightforward, but it's surprising how teams don't think that way. And so Louisville had the special teams player of the year and the defensive player of the year. Kickoff underway. Going to be bouncing into the end zone for a touchback. Louisville will begin from the 40. So good starting field position for Chandler Rogers in this one. Let's see what they got. Well, yeah, because the NFL is, I wouldn't say it's the same year after year, but it is the best of the best playing. You're not gonna have this. You're not gonna have as many chaotic moments in the NFL as you do in the UFL. Hello. Rodgers and shotgun back to his left. Gonna play action and dump this off over the middle, and it's incomplete. Case is a fumble. We do have Ian Wheeler picking it up. Yeah, welcome back. Oh, and Ian Wheeler is a bit slow to get up after that. He took a weird hit. 2nd and 10 for the Kings. Images from Times Square right now as the Brazil World Cup game's about to be starting is crazy. 6:35 to play in the first quarter. Yeah, Ian Wheeler heading off to the sideline with a bit of a limp. That's maybe something to keep an eye on. The line closed with Louisville as the favorites. When I was doing the preview stuff, it was DC as the favorite, so it's kind of a back and forth. It's still like 1.5 points as the line. It's not a big enough line to say there's a clear favorite. And before the snap, there's going to be a stoppage here on 2nd and 10. And it's a medical timeout. Okay. And yeah, they're showing Chris Redmond on that Kings sideline. He's been probably the most impressive head coach in the league this year in terms of like first-time head coaches. I'm shocked he did not win Coach of the Year. Anthony Beck instead got it, which deserved. 8-2 Orlando team is impressive. But with how Chris Redmond has improved as a coach over the course of the season, I'm kind of shocked he did not get the nod. Curious what the actual full vote-in was. I'm not sure if we get that in this league. Rodgers and shotgun back to his right, 2 receivers to each side. Going to hand this off up the middle, and that's James Robinson trying to find some space. Gonna maybe get 3 or 4 on this carry. Not much else. It was a 3rd and medium for the Kings. Gonna rule it a 3rd and 7. $5:39 to play in the first. Another brief stoppage here. And another medical timeout. Brief one for Tariq Black to get off the sideline. Okay. So 3rd and 7. Rodgers and shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off up the middle once again for James Robinson. That's not gonna be enough for the first. Does get him just shy though. We'll make it a 4th and about 3. So the Kings, you have a choice here. I imagine though, with this only being a 3-point game, we're gonna see them send this one down. We'll see. Yep, the Kings are gonna send this one down. Punt comes off clean. Going to bounce inside the 10. Rolling right before the goal line. Going to be down at the 1. A beautiful punt for Mac Brown to pin DC deep. That's a beautiful punt. Took a great bounce and just avoided the goal line perfectly. Staying along that 1-yard line. And yeah, Tyler Hudson stays in the field of play as well. Does not go into the end zone there. So a beautiful punt. We head to a commercial break. DC will start with the ball on their own 1-yard line. All right, at commercial break. At commercial break. All right, so a solid start for both defenses, two drives apiece. Obviously, the league would prefer this to be more in line with last year's UFL Championship game, where that was a higher scoring game that was close the majority of the way with it. The league would prefer that, but if we get a very fun defensive game as well, I wouldn't be opposed. As we're at commercial break. All right, so earlier today it was reported that tickets tonight bought by Knicks fans were going to be revoked, and now it's been reported that that's not going to be the case, thanks to MSG stepping in. Hell yeah. At commercial break still. Just coming back from commercial break, starting with some highlights from last week's playoffs or this past Sunday's playoffs. Yeah, it was an impressive win. It was an impressive win for both of these teams last week on the road in some. Well, in case of the Kings, a tough environment, but in case of DC, a kind of a neutral site game. But still. Oh yeah, that. I'm expecting that beer snake to go all the way up. All right, Bean and shotgun back behind him. 3 receiving options to the left. And they get the Kings to jump early. From starting on their own 2-yard line, the Kings got a bit jumpy. And it'll be 1st and 5 now for DC. Yeah, offside against the Kings. Some much needed breathing room for this defense. Shaheem Thomas being called for it. As the Kings were ready to send 7. Try and get pressure in there early. He jumped the snap earlier by maybe a second. That was a pretty damn good, nearly a fantastically timed snap. Now on the 7, Bean in shotgun, back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Play clock winding down, Bean making some adjustments as they're going to hand this off up the middle. And that's going to be a gain of roughly 4 for Xavier Valade. One of 3 running backs for this DC team that has led the best running offense in the league this year. At least a top 3. I think Columbus might technically have been first in a regular season. Nonetheless, it's been a top tier running offense this year, and they have needed it. Bean in shotgun, another handoff up the middle, going to be enough for the first, and Valade has space with a blocker. Past the 40, past midfield. It's going to be a foot race. Ball comes loose now. It's a fumble. 3 Kings have it. And it's going to be picked up by Louisville in the end zone. That's a 40-yard fumble to only be a Kings touchback. Cam Datzler picks it up in the end zone. And a costly turnover for DC. Xavier Valde had a easy gain of 45 and then proceeds to fumble the ball another 45 yards. Keaton Ellis, the one that forces it loose, and yeah, the ball rolls 40, maybe 45 yards into the end zone before Datzler picked it up. A great hustle play by Keaton Ellis. That's a beautiful peanut punch. And then that took some insane bounces all the way down. All right, the first turnover of the game for this Louisville defense. That's now their 19th since week 5. Yeah, high and tight. The ball now on their own 25. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Shifting the back now to his left. And there's a penalty marker before the snap. Going to be a false start against the Kings. Yeah, that took some pretty crazy bounces. So 1st and 15. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's gonna be a gain of 2 maybe. Not much else there for Ian Wheeler. This DC defense is stepping up big time already early on in this game. At some point, if you're the Kings, you're gonna need to do a somewhat deeper pass. So 2nd and 13. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Going to look to throw. Pass left side is off the mark and incomplete. Looking for Isaiah Winstead. Is Garyon Connolly in great coverage. And a 3rd and 13 coming up. Yeah, they're keeping things short early on in this game. I don't fully love it, but I also get the mindset of trying just to do stuff quick to then take advantage of not the greatest of tackling that we've seen from DC this year. So 3rd and 13, Rogers in shotgun, back to his right, going to look to throw. Now stepping up, going to try and take it himself on a design QB keeper that gets to the 30. Going to be a 4th and 5, but not able to capitalize off the fumble. And they'll punt this one away once again. All right, rough start for this Kings offense. Their ground game is not able to get a whole lot going. All right, punt comes off clean. Return beginning from the 20, out past the 30, and down to about the 32. 2 minutes to go in the first. DC will start from there. All right. So 1st and 10, and out comes Jason Bean. His season stats are nothing special, to be fair. He only played 5 regular season games this year. Bean in shotgun, back to his left. Quick pass, left side, can be caught by Ty Scott. Enough for the first. Fighting his way down to the 45 will be a gain of 13. All right, so 1st and 10. Bean going to keep it himself left side on the read option, gets just past midfield and brought down just shy of the first, a gain of roughly 8. Alright. Alright. Second and 1, ruled at a gain of 9. The ball on roughly the 46-yard line of the Kings. Bean gonna play action, quick pass left side, gonna be incomplete. Ty Scott couldn't hang on to it. That's the same play that ran on the first play of this drive. It'll be a 3rd and 1 now. I'm curious how long it'll take before the Kings start. Not necessarily pressing, but not playing 10 yards off the line of scrimmage for these receivers. Because DC is going to want to go quick as well for the most part. Bean in shotgun. Going to hand this off going left. And going to be met behind the line. But Abram Smith keeps fighting. But not going to be enough for the first. Only picks up about half a yard, if that. So it'll be a 4th down for DC. They're past midfield, so they have to go for it. But it'll also be the end of the first quarter. 15 minutes in the books for the United Bowl. DC with a 3-point lead early on, as this game has been all defense to 15. We head to a commercial break. See how the second quarter begins. With a 4th and inches for DC on the other side of the commercial break. Alright. Not bad. At commercial break. At commercial break. Yeah, I expect the offense to open up at some point. The main thing for the Kings, DC's offense has started to open up a bit. They're doing a lot of RPOs, a lot of play actions. The running game is getting going. The Kings want to do some very similar things, but the ground game hasn't been as good so far, or hasn't opened things up just yet. But that first breakaway run for either Robinson or Wheeler is going to help that out. And also, like, if the Kings just simply, maybe do 2 or 3 more pure drop back passes, you might be able to find something. Because on that opening drive, again, Isaiah Winstead was wide open deeper down the field. Rodgers just missed him because it was his first or second throw of the game. So, like, as the game progresses, I expect both of these offenses to open up a bit. But so, also at the same time, was kind of expecting more than 3 points to begin things. So at commercial break. And another brief commercial here for Game 5 tonight. That OG Anunoby tip-in is going to be replayed for decades to come. It was a fantastic game. And there's Mike Rapoli about to be on the broadcast. All right, a 4th and 1 for DC. What they have to go for it. All right, Bean in shotgun back to his right. 2 extra linemen in the game for this big 4th and 1. Bean handoff up the middle for Deion Jackson, does not get it. Louisville stands tall, stonewalling him at the line. And it's a turnover on downs. Travis Bell into the backfield first. A big time stand for this Louisville defense. And now can the offense build off of it? Yeah, he's short. Beautiful, beautiful pushes all across the defensive line there for the Kings. Bell gets there first. It's Steel Chambers with the finish as well, as he had the game-sealing interception last week against St. Louis. Rogers in shotgun back to his left. 3 receiving options to the left as well. Handoff up the middle, and there's some space to just about midfield for James Robinson, a gain of about 4. Rapoli was just asking about expansion. Hold on. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. And a motion left to right. Toss pass going right side for Isaiah Winstead. Gonna be enough for the first, seemingly. Gain of about 5 or 6. We'll see exactly how much. All right, Rapoli didn't give too much more information about expansion there. The main thing he said that beginning Monday, they have 4 or 5 facilities to look at for a potential second team. So I would expect an announcement again probably before the end of the year. I would expect something from Rapoli and them about expansion again. Rogers in shotgun, back behind him, going to rule out a gain of 6 on the previous play, so will be a 1st and 10. Handoff up the middle, going to be a gain of 1 yard. They're in field goal range for Tanner Brown, so there is that. 2nd and 9 coming up. All right, 2nd and 9. Rogers in shotgun, back behind him. 2 receiving options to each side. Man in motion, left to right. Gonna hand this off up the middle once again. And once again, it is a gain of only 1 yard for James Robinson. So a 3rd and 8 coming up. And this is where you would hopefully get a bit more on those. But if you're at the 42-yard line, it would be a 4-point field goal. So you pass the ball and it's incomplete, you should still be able to take the lead. Rogers in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receivers to each side. A 3rd and 8 from the DC 42. Rogers going to look to throw. Pressure coming, just can't take a sack. Rolling right, gets a pass off in time. Pass deep right side, is intercepted. An even worse case scenario for Louisville. It's Kai Gray on the INT, going to put DC with the ball. Granted, deep in their own territory, inside the 20. But nonetheless, DC will maintain the lead. Thanks to that. All you had to do was throw it away. Yeah, a good delayed blitz off that left side, forcing Rogers to be on the move. He gets laid out as he's throwing that ball. And he gets 1 foot inbounds at least. Yeah, he takes a big hit as that ball is coming out. If he just throws it away more so, you have you can bring out your special teams player of the year kicker. Instead, you say it's an unnecessary turnover. DC ball inside their own 10. Gonna be at roughly the 7. And we're gonna head to a commercial break. All right, add commercial break. The Spurs made Game 7 hats? Are you kidding? All right, add commercial break. Add commercial break. After the INT. So both teams have turned the ball over once early on in this. Not bad. Not bad. Again, should be an interesting one. Defenses have been on full display early on, with both offenses making minor but costly mistakes as well at times. But we'll see. All right, should be coming out of commercial break here soon. There we go. Yeah, there's re-showing that massive hit that Derek Roberson laid on Chandler Rogers back in week 7. That hit on the INT. Not exactly the same, but still a pretty similar case of a massive hit that maybe can spark something in this Louisville offense. Yeah, they're interviewing Derek Roberson now along the sideline. All right, being in shotgun back to his left, gonna hand this. They're gonna keep it himself left side in the read option, and there's space as he slides down for a gain of 8. Not much else to work there. 2nd and 2 coming up. All right, 2nd and 2, just under 12 minutes to play in the half. Being in shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. The weird thing is DC's without 2 of their tight ends in this game. Being quick pass right side, caught by Ty Scott for the receiver screen, and the ball comes loose. The Kings have it. It's a scoop and score. Eric Garrour on the scoop and score, and the Kings take the lead with their 2nd turnover forced in this game. And that's why this Kings defense has been as hyped up as it has been. Their 20th forced turnover since week 5. It's Corey Mayfield to force it loose, and Eric Garrour untouched for 12 yards and in. A great hit. Got his helmet on the ball there. It was too easy. Hell yeah. All right, out comes Tanner Brown. Again, Matt McCrane said to have some NFL opportunities waiting for him after today. I expect the same for Tanner Brown. He's been fantastic on the season. Extra point is up, and it's right down the middle. All right, DC down by 4 quickly all of a sudden. But that was a great play by Corey Mayfield. Yeah, I've been loving watching Tanner Brown play. As I've been loving watching most of this Louisville Kings team play. Corey Mayfield, another player that I would expect to get NFL tryouts in the coming days. There's so many pieces on this Kings team as a whole, but mainly that Kings defense that has earned them a chance and that has earned them chances at the NFL. Yeah, they all play with immense amount of heart and can just continuously making plays. It's very impressive. 10th turnover forced versus DC this season, which is crazy. There is a Kings player slow to get up, though. It is right guard Jalen Thomas, banged up after the extra point. So that could be a tough blow for this Kings offense. Oh, is that the high school head coach of both Jason Bean and Chandler Rogers being interviewed on the sideline now? Yep. Again, when the second Columbus and Louisville were announced as teams for this season, I knew right away that they were going to be instant successes in terms of getting a proper fan base. And I think the league is going to be trying to get more of those type of cities, which could be difficult because Louisville and Columbus are so unique of sports cities. Yeah. And then that's why like the main city I always go back to is Portland. Because I have a friend who's in the Portland area. And it feels so much of like of like a sports city in the same way that Louisville and Columbus were. Maybe Maine. I just think that I just think that entire region's a bit rough as Jalen Thomas might be carted off the field here as we go to a commercial break. I know Rapoli did mention New England as a region he wants to try and get to. I think more so that's going to be him putting a team in like Connecticut. I think the league at some point will put them in a soccer stadium, but I don't know. It's like the Battlehawks are so synonymous with the dome that it's tough for me to see them elsewhere. It's just the thing with like the thing with Maine and like New Hampshire is that while yeah they're part of that New England region, it's just they're kind of out of the way in terms of where like the bigger cities of the New England region is, which is like a Hartford, a Boston, and all that. So you want to be for more so focused there. Same reason why like the Patriots, they're the New England Patriots, but they're more so, but they're headquartered in that Boston area, in Foxborough, in that Boston area, because it's a lot easier, one, to market that city, and two, it's easier to expect people to want to go travel to a bigger city than middle of nowhere. Like that's kind of like the unfortunate thing about that is they get lumped into like that Massachusetts, Connecticut, even Rhode Island to a degree, but Also, with Connecticut just about to just lose the Connecticut Suns of the WNBA, there's a fan base there that's angry and wants a professional team back. You can step in and win them over pretty easily. Obviously, you're still gonna need to like have a good team there and have good marketing and a good stadium and everything, but you can step in there and target that fan base a bit easier. Same reason with like a San Diego or an Oakland, where it's like, yeah, they want an NFL team back. They're gonna support a UFL team if it means they get to put one up against the NFL. Same reason why St. Louis was a massive success. All right, just getting back from commercial break, and there's Jalen Thomas on the cart. Unfortunate injury to have in the championship game. Hoping the best. It's a tough one. All right, Louisville set to send this one down. Kickoff underway. Going to be returned beginning from the 5. Spaced out past the 20, past the 25, and brought down near the 26 or 27 yard line. So DC will start from there. Yeah, this Kings defense continues to play at that high level that we know from them. I didn't realize how far Keaton Ellis traveled to force that fumble earlier. I want to point out Braylon Sanders not really doing a lot after the fumble was forced on that previous turnover. All right, 1st and 10. Bean handoff up the middle, and there's space for Deion Jackson for the 1st and more. Past the 40 and brought down near the 41. That's a great way to bounce back. Corey Mayfield's helmet hits the arm a bit, and that forces it slightly to come loose. He's gonna be credited for the forced fumble, but yeah, for the most part, I think that's Ty Scott thinking his knee touched earlier than it did. Okay, and then you kind of letting up a bit. Handoff up the middle once again, going to be a gain of about 5 for Deion Jackson. Either way, a forced fumble is a forced fumble. So 2nd and 5. Bean going to hand this off up the middle once again, and that's going to be a gain of 2 or 3. Not much else for Xavier Valade. Yeah. It's got to be able to hold on to the ball, but at the same time, you can make... I mean, you could do the same argument with Louisville, but that interception ended up leading to one of the fumbles, so... Definitely, if Valade holds on to the first fumble, you're talking about a different game. 3rd and a long 2, handoff up the middle, can be met in the backfield, but stays on his feet with space. Valade a foot race, the 15-10-5, and this time he hangs on to the ball and is in. DC retakes the lead. A fantastic way to bounce back from the scoop and score for Louisville. It's Xavier Valade for 51 yards and the lead. That entire drive was beautiful blocking up front. Great patience and great vision from all the backs. Ended up being, 3-4 play drive? Purely on the ground, that goes 73 yards. DC already up to 176 yards on the ground. Only 18 yards through the air. If Louisville can just start stepping up a bit against the ground and force Jason Bean to beat them with his arm. All right, Matt McCrane on for the extra point. It is up and it is good. Right back to a 3-point DC lead. Did not take long for that. Yeah. It's Eric Garor who's in the backfield instantly, but just can't bring Valade down. And from there, he has that outside lane. Beautiful running. Nah, probably not. Because, like, yeah, those two fumbles hurt them early in this game. I don't think those are going to necessarily change the full outlook of this game, especially after Valade just redeemed himself with that 51-yard touchdown. So I'm not too surprised. $9:45 to play in the first half. I didn't see if there's any dudes. All right, 9:40 to go in. They just blew 5 seconds. Okay. Oh, because the broadcast did not show the kickoff. That's why. That's fun. It was kickoff return just past the 20, I think, to the 25, maybe. Yeah, again, those hurt, but this DC defense is picking up just fine. There was ball on the 29 of Louisville after the return, and there's a stoppage before the snap. And now we're picking it right back. Okay. Reset the play clock. Ball on their own 29. That beer snake is already pretty high up that stands. Okay, cool. Rogers and shotgun back to his right, gonna hand this off up the middle, and that's gonna be a solid carry up to about the 35-yard line, a gain of 6 for Ian Wheeler. I would not say that. The defenses have been, I wouldn't say equal, but the defenses have been solid for both sides. Offensively, DC does have the edge offensively. I mean, Louisville just now past 50 yards of offense in this game. DC is at nearly 200 yards rushing already. So DC's offense performing a bit better, but it's those two fumbles so far are coming back. Handoff up the middle once again, and this time going to be a loss of 2. Derek Roberson into the backfield. It'll be a 3rd and roughly 6 coming up. There's 8:50 left in the first half. And counting. Yeah, that's just Derek Roberson being Derek Roberson. All right, ruling in more so a 3rd and 5. As the clock continues to roll with 8 minutes and 30 seconds left in the half. Rogers and shotgun back to his left, going to look to throw. And now there's a penalty, a late penalty, but one that should have been called sooner. Going to be a false start against the Kings, it seems. Yeah, it's a clear false start. I wouldn't say just yet. The defenses have been the showcase in this game. And yeah, that is such a clear false start. I'm surprised it took him so long to actually blow the play dead. Now a 3rd and 10 for the Kings. Rogers and shotgun back to his left. 3 receiving options to the right, going to look to throw. Pressure coming. Rogers stepping up, will take it himself. Gonna lower the shoulder and gonna be brought down at about the 35. Not enough for the first. It is another 3 and out for the Kings in this game. Their offense has not been doing a whole lot in this one. They'll punt this away. They're depending a lot on that defense so far. Yeah, if it was close, they probably don't call it. But yeah, that was just too obvious to not Not call. Yeah, it's been a slow start for this Kings offense. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 10. Out past the 15, past the 20, and brought down at the 22. So DC will start from there. And yeah, tomorrow, game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final. Carolina leads 3-2 in that series. Which again, that's been a great. Both of the finals in the NBA and NHL have been great series so far. So 1st and 10, 7:15 to play in the half. And yeah, this running game for DC is on another level in this one. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Abram Smith, and that's gonna be a gain of roughly 2. Yeah. Again, this Kings defense, like everyone knew, was going to be a factor in this game. They've been a factor since week 5. So I'm not too surprised by them by them keeping them in this game. As has kind of been the Kings the past few weeks, is that their defense is playing at such a high level that's keeping them in games and giving the offense time to get up to pace. Bean going to keep it himself left side on the read option, and there's space on 2nd and 7. Enough for the first. Going to get past the 35 and out of bounds around the 36. Another first down pickup, and this ground game continues to be on another level for DC. First and 10. Being in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Play action looking to throw. Pass over the middle is tipped and incomplete. Looking for Eric Ezukanma. Pass was a bit behind him and off the mark. And see, the Kings need to focus on stopping the ground game. If they can force Jason Bean to beat them with his arm, they're going to be having more opportunities to retake the lead, to come back if it gets to that point. But you need to focus on stopping the run. Being in shotgun, back to his left on 2nd and 10. There's a handoff up the middle for Abram Smith. And it's a solid carry of roughly 7. Yeah, and I can't be giving that much up on 2nd and 10. And you gotta force him to go through the air for stuff. So 3rd and 2. Being in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receiving options to the left as well. Man in motion, left to right. There's a movement up front. Going to be a free play for DC. Passing deep right side is incomplete for Ty Scott. And they get a second penalty here against the Kings. You have the offside first. It was a first down either way for DC. Question is there and also a DPI called here. There is. So the offside against the Kings will be declined. The defensive pass interference will be accepted. So it's a massive gain of yards there for the Kings. Refs are rediscussing this. Dean Blandino was stepping in on this. I was just getting the yard marks correct. Yeah, so offside gonna be declined. DPI will put DC at the 35-yard line. Make sure you get the yard marks right. As is a spot foul. So automatic first. And that's also going to put DC into field goal range. Yeah, I feel like that depends on the ref. I've seen that in the NFL not be called and just been chalked up to hand fighting. Alright, 1st and 10. Being in shotgun, back to his right. Gonna hand this off going left for Abram Smith. Cut up the middle, going to be a gain of 2. 4.5 to play in the first half. DC continuing to let things roll. 2nd and 8. So Bean in shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side, man in motion right to left. Gonna hand this off up the middle for Abram Smith. And gonna lower the shoulder and fight for the first. It's a gain of 10. Yeah, no, this DC ground game might be too much for the Kings today. They're already up to over 200 yards rushing, and we're not even at halftime yet. This line of scrimmage has been, for the most part, fantastic. Obviously, there's a play here or there where Louisville's able to get some push, but for the most part, it has been all DC on the trenches. Being in shotgun, back to his right, 3 receivers to the left. Going to keep it himself right side for the read option. He has a good block and going to be a gain of about 4 or 5. Good block there set by Brilly Moore, the lone tight end for this game, due to Mason Fairchild and Ben Bresnahan to be inactive. So 2nd and 7. Being in shotgun, back to his left. Dump off left side's a backwards pass that's dropped. DC does fall on it, back near the 26, but nearly another disastrous turnover by this defender's team. Looking for Eric Ezukanma. Pass was a bit underthrown. And that could have been a disastrous play. Instead, it's just a 3rd and long. It's a 3rd and 12 now. So still not great, but you're in a field goal range. If you can just get points on this drive, you're still fine. Being in shotgun, back to his left. Play action, looking to throw. Has some time. Pass deep, left side. It's well off the mark and incomplete. No penalties down. Going to be a 4th and 12 coming up. Looking for Brilly Moore along that left side. And DC wanted a penalty. I'm not sure if that ball was on target enough to get it. Yeah, he threw that ball. Yeah, that's not catchable. So out comes Matt McCrane, but first the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to play in the first half. The Kings will have a chance to cut into this deficit, as well as potentially take the lead. The Kings do get ball to begin the second half as well. So they find themselves in a pretty good spot here, assuming that Matt McCrane hits this kick, which he should pretty easily. But we'll see. We're at commercial break. At commercial break. And again, defensive focus first half. I expect the second half to be a bit different. Also, I like to see the Kings really try and push the ball down the field in this 2-minute drill they're about to go on. But we'll see. But at commercial break. All right, not bad. Pretty good start to this championship. So far it's been a good blend between Birmingham, San Antonio, and DC, Michigan from last year. It's been a good blend. Some offensive spectacles, some defense spectacles, making great plays, but nothing that's like 50 to 40 game like last year's was, or a 28 to nothing game like San Antonio, Birmingham was. So I'll take this. But at commercial break for the 2-minute warning. All right, just coming out of commercial break. Matt McCrane on for the field goal to make it a 6-point lead late in the first half. Gonna be a decently long field goal. The Kings get ball first in the second half, so they're finding themselves in a potential great spot if the offense can get stuff going, with a chance to have the lead at halftime, and then getting the ball right out of half. They could be in a great spot. So Matt McCrane made it from 48 earlier today. This one also from that 40+ range, I believe. Going to be a 43-yard kick from the left hash to put DC up by 6. Kick is up, and it is good with these. So DC takes a 6-point lead. Kings will have roughly a minute 50 to go in the first half, depending on how much time runs off the clock due to the kick return. At commercial break. Not commercial break. We're at a brief stoppage as we allow teams to line up for the kickoff. A minute 56 to go in the half. All right, what does the Kings offense have in store? They need a lot. This Kings special teams could also make a play here. The last time these two teams played back in week 8, we had Louisville return a kick for a touchdown. Kickoff underway, going to be returned beginning from the 5. Spaced out past the 20, past the 25, and brought down near the 26. So the Kings offense will start from there. All right. And yeah, only 59 yards of offense for the Kings so far in this game compared to 225 for DC. It has not been great. Rodgers and shotgun back to his left, 3 receivers to the right, ball on their own 26. Going to look to throw, quick pass right side, it's caught. Going to be a gain of 2 or 3. Nearly intercepted. I don't really love that decision, but okay. Rodgers and shotgun looking to throw in 2nd and 7. Pass deep over the middle is intercepted. the second time today. Ty Gray with his second, and was returned inside the 20 to 15 and brought down out of bounds around the 11. Ty Gray with his second interception. And DC is now firmly in business. This DC defense is matching Louisville's stride for stride. The difference in this game has purely been the run game of DC's offense. That is Chandler Rogers with an uncharacteristic throw. Just forcing that one in there for no reason. That's not a throw he typically tries to make. That's him getting a bit desperate. And also the pressure forming around him. Yeah, that's him. That's him feeling the pressure. And being scared of this DC defensive line. Yeah, that's too easy. So 1st and 10 for the defenders. All right, 1st and 10. Being in shotgun, back to his right, ball in roughly the 12. Handoff for Deion Jackson, going to be met at the line of scrimmage for no gain. I mean, nonetheless, DC can extend this lead. We'll make it to a 9-point lead at the very least, unless something disastrous happens. All right. 2nd and 9. It gave him a pretty generous 1 yard. 45 seconds to go in half. They're letting clock run a lot here. Being in shotgun, looking to throw. Pass left side for the end zone is going to be incomplete. Dangerous throw into triple coverage, looking for Brilly Moore. And it'll be 3rd and 9 coming up. I don't like that decision at all. Jason Bean through the air has not been good in this game. This DC ground game has been fantastic. And is a large reason why DC has the lead and is in a spot to extend the lead. Alongside obviously their great defensive play. But you can have great defense, but if the offense isn't doing anything, well, you're seeing it with the Louisville Kings. DC calling the first timeout as they're not going to break the huddle in time before 3rd and 9. 37 seconds to go in the half. Yeah, DC's ground game is already up to 205 yards. It is insane. Yeah, that's not a good throw from Chandler Rogers, just showing it again. Like, you have the check down underneath for James Robinson. You probably need another half a second, though, before that develops properly, but still. Yeah, that standing room section in DC is on fire right now. I love it. All right, 3rd and 9. Being in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Ball on the 12-yard line. Bean gonna take it himself up the middle. Trying to find some space. It brought down for only a gain of a yard or so. Not much room there for this DC offense. So the Louisville defense has the back of the offense. They're going to keep this a 1-score game entering halftime. But man, this Kings team, you wish you were playing a whole lot better than what they have been. For as good as this defense has been this half, for them to still most likely be down by 9 is insane. There's the second timeout called by DC with 2 seconds to play in a half, officially making this the final play of the first half. Gonna be a cheap shot for Matt McCrane. So 4th and 8. So Matt McCrane on. It is a 35-yard kick from the right hash to put DC up by 9. I know it's a 30-yard kick. Still, either way, it should be a cheap shot. To put them up by 9 at the half from the right hash. Matt McCrane is up, and it is right down the middle. And that is halftime. Louisville gets ball to begin the second half. Pretty much getting close to desperate need of something from the offense. DC, they're feeling fantastic right now. As we head to halftime. With us heading to halftime, I'll quickly be right back. All right, at halftime. Defensive focused first half. We'll see what the second half brings. It's been nothing but defense. Yeah, there's a lot of what needs to happen for Louisville in the second half. Is priority number 1, stopping this DC ground game. Priority 2, stop turning the ball over. From there, hopefully things start to work out for them. But if they can just stop this ground game, they're going to be in a decently better spot. Yep, we're at halftime. At halftime. Yeah, it's gonna be a long halftime. There is a halftime show today. Yeah, this Kings defense has been holding up their end of thing for the most part. Again, the ground defense has not been good, but they forced 2 turnovers. They've given the offense plenty of chances to extend the lead, retake the lead. More so just retake the lead, but the offense only having 61 yards of offense through one half of play is not great. But at halftime, at halftime. And halftime. I'm waiting for this halftime show to begin as well. I'm kind of interested to see how it is. But we're at halftime. Again, I like that the UFL for these playoffs have been doing a studio recap show. Kind of more so in line with what college football does. And again, I feel like if this league kind of leans in a bit to that like college football and like college football crowd, we'll probably get something there. But we'll see. Yeah, the passing game for both sides have not been doing anything. It's been most of the offense come through the ground, and I'm not too surprised by that. But we're at halftime. But at halftime. Louisville gets ball to begin the second half. We got 24 minutes to go in halftime. Twenty-four minutes of the second half, and the halftime show should begin here soon. Yeah. Here comes the halftime show. And again, in a pretty much sold out stadium. This should be interesting. This should be a fun one. It's still crazy some of the talent this league has gotten for halftime shows. It's crazy. I love it though. Yeah, again, it's defensive first half. Second half, I expect the offenses to get a bit more going. But again, like, I say defensive first half. DC has over 200 yards on the ground already. So it's a give or take situation there. Yep, at halftime. We'll see what the second half brings here. We got probably about 20 minutes or so until second half. This is what happens with a halftime show. Well, we're at halftime. Yeah, I mean, it's good. Again, with as filled up as the stadium is, it's good halftime show. And I'm able to listen to it a ton because I have the sound down a bit. There's one thing like the earlier halftime shows where like in week 1 and stuff, I was able to have a headset on for it. Now then, I'm properly in a setup where I use a TV and the way. Yep, still at the half. At halftime. At halftime. Yep. Still at half. Probably like 15 or so minutes, maybe less, probably less until second half begins. Imagine this will go till 4:53, maybe 4:55, and then they're gonna do a commercial break and then second half. We'll see though. We're at halftime. At halftime. It is always funny when you have the broadcast having to censor stuff during the halftime show. Also, both of the mascots being there are also a nice touch with it. But hey, we're at halftime. Would expect halftime should be wrapping up here soon. At halftime. Still at the half, and then still at the halftime show. At halftime. I will say this halftime show's lasted a bit longer than I expected, but at the same time, that beer snake is at the top of that section. What the? I think that's the first time that has happened. Even like dating back to 2020 and like 2023, that beer snake is fully at the top of the standing room only section, and we're just one half through. They might be able to make a second one that also goes to the top. We're at halftime. That person with a lemon hat on for no, the DC's atmosphere is great. Yeah, it's a great crowd for this halftime show. All right, so ABC cutting it off there. We're gonna head to one more commercial break and then the second half underway here. Gonna be an interesting second half of play for Louisville. To get ball to begin the second half. Only down by one possession. They can get right back into this very easily. But they're just gonna need the offense to step up a tiny bit. We're heading to a commercial break. But we're at commercial break. As halftime's about to be wrapping up here. At commercial break. Second half underway here soon. Yeah, another commercial for Game 5. They're going to be, for as much, again, I love this OG Anunoby clip of the tip-in. It's going to be shown for decades to come. It's going to be fun. It's going to be a great clip for decades to come. The NBA is really trying to run this to the ground now. Because that is like the only clip they use for commercials is that tip-in. We're at commercial break. Second half should be beginning here soon. At commercial break. Oh, a Nat Geo style commercial for the DC fan base and the beer snake. Oh yeah, this DC fan base from the very beginning has been fantastic, and they're on full display today as well. Again, it's great. DC is a team that's here to stay for sure. It is beautiful. And it is that fan base that leads to this home field advantage that DC has, and is playing a role today. As we're just getting back from commercial break, and yeah, that beer snake is completely to the top. It is beautiful, and it being gold for this championship game makes it that much better. Yeah, it's not been a pass-in-centered game by either team. The ground games have been the main way to get the offense going. And that has not been the case really for Louisville to the same degree. We got one more halftime segment before the second half. We got 7 minutes until the second half begins. It's a long halftime, bud. Oh well. Let's see what the second half has in store here soon. At halftime, 6.5 to go in halftime. Yeah, taking their time with this one compared to previous ones, but that's what happens when you have a halftime show. But we're at commercial break. At commercial break. At halftime still. One more commercial break, then we get to halftime, or to get to the second half. At commercial break. Second half about to be underway here soon. At commercial break. At commercial break. Second half should be beginning here soon. They're gonna run over time though for sure on this game. What does like ABC's gonna have NBA tip off soon after, huh? Okay, not yeah. They can run a little bit over time, I think. So the fact that they're running potentially this far over time is something. Especially for how like there wasn't a lot going on in the first half, and I expect a bit more to go on in the second half. It's not a great sign, but we'll see. Well, we're at halftime. Yeah. Both teams are going to need a receiver to step up for the quarterback. And I think Ty Scott potentially being that guy could be nice, considering that he did fumble. But he did have the fumble that led to the lone Louisville points of this game. But we'll see. Again, the passing games have not been anything for these teams. DC has 18 yards passing so far today. Louisville has 20. So one of these passing games is going to need to truly step up and make a difference in this game, because otherwise it's going to be a long day for Louisville. But the second half might be away here soon. Just getting out of commercial break. Chandler Rogers with 2 interceptions in this one. Both were pretty bad interceptions. The first one, if it was just a throwaway, if Chandler Rogers just throws the ball away on that first interception, they're in field goal range for Tanner Brown for them to retake the lead. The second one was on 2-minute drill. He had the check down opening up underneath, but the pressure was getting there a bit too quick for his liking. So he tried to force one over the middle, just was not a great decision. We have second half underway here soon. The second half underway here soon. Louisville gets ball to begin the second half. Matt McCrane on to send this one down. And that beer snake, it is beautiful. Yeah, that is full. Like that's the length of the entire section and then some. What a way to start the second half. With one of the sideline reporters on top of the section chugging a beer to add to the snake. Yeah, they're starting to curve that thing. They're starting to curve that thing a ton to try and get more cups a part of it. That is crazy. Beautiful. That beer snake is beautiful. Yeah, the thing with DC is, I mean, as long as they don't turn the ball over, they're feeling great. Kickoff underway. The second half of the United Bowl begins with a kick that's returned up past the 30-35 and brought down to about the 37, maybe 38. So Louisville will start with some pretty good field position. And out comes Chandler Rogers. Going to need a much better second half out of him. So 1st and 10. Rogers and shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left as well. First play of the second half, going to be a handoff up the middle. That's going to be met at the line of scrimmage for no gain for James Robinson. No space to work there. And yeah, DC's first half was truly spectacular. Yet even with that, it was only a 9-point game at the half. So can have a lot more work to do if they're going to truly close this out. Rogers and shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the right. 2nd and 10. Need the 48-yard line to move the chains. Another handoff up the middle, and this time there's space for James Robinson. Getting the sideline. Past midfield, past the 45, and out of bounds around the 43. That's a big-time carry. They've been waiting for that in this game. Finally, James Robinson breaks something here. All right, it's a start. Build off of it. It is a good start. First and 10, ball on the 43. So they're in field goal range now for Tanner Brown. Rogers and shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Another handoff up the middle for James Robinson, and it's another solid carry, a gain of roughly 7. All right, the ground game is starting to open up here for Louisville. They're sticking with it, which I like. They're not panicking just yet. They realize it's still a 1-score game. They have faith in this offense. They're going to keep doing what they want to do. And hope that eventually things start to open up for them. And things have started to open up early on in this half. Rogers and shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Man in motion. You're going to shift the formation here to now 3 receivers along that left side. A 2nd and 4. Rogers handoff up the middle. Going to bounce it out right side for Ian Wheeler. He's met behind the line still for a loss of a yard. Probably would have liked to see Chandler Rogers kind of realize that there's going to be a corner blitz off the right side. Maybe pivot the play a bit, but same time, as DeAndre Baker timing up that blitz pretty darn well. So 3rd and 4. Rogers in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receiving options to the right. Another handoff. They're trying some trickery here. It's a double reverse that's going to lose 2. It got blown up instantly. Trying a double reverse for Isaiah Winston, and that stood no chances. And it was nearly a disaster. Yeah, I would have liked to see Ian Wheeler just abandon play and keep it himself at the very least. Because instant pressure off that right side made it a very awkward flip towards Isaiah Winston. And now out comes Tanner Brown. A long field goal attempt to make it a 6-point game. 57 yards out. The ball is centered well. Kick is up. It's on line, and it is good. Tanner Brown continues his great season. And it's a 6-point lead. It's something. It is something for this Kings offense. You can build off of that. That's all that was pretty much needed, was something. And we head to commercial break. So now with that kick, on the season total, including the playoffs, Tanner Brown is at 90%. Is a 90% field goal kicker, including a long of 63. So we're at commercial break. A good way to start things off in the half. You gotta build off of it. At commercial break. Yeah, the energy at DC is fantastic right now. See if they can feed off of that now on offense for the first time the second half. Back to a 6-point game. We're at commercial break. Yep. DC has been playing really well in this game. But here comes, I want to say the true test, but here comes a test for this Louisville defense. What adjustments do you make in the second half to try and stop this ground game that DC has, which has been fantastic on the day? So that's going to be the test here. You know, yeah, Tanner Brown, he has NFL opportunities lined up for him as well. He's been too good on the season. All right, kickoff underway. We're just back from commercial break. Going to be returned beginning from the 10-ish, up past the 20-25. Finding space past the, down to about the 28. Nearly has room to the 30. DC will start from there. Also, those Storm's trying to roll in, I think, here, where I'm at. Sounded like it. All right, so what does Jason Bean have in store? Three for 8 in the first half. Not a great first half showing. The UFL game is on ABC, not NBC. That's why. NBC is not a partner with the UFL. Bean in shotgun back to his right, going to hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of roughly 6. So a good start, picking up right where they left off on this ground game. Deion Jackson on the carry. I mean, it should be on ABC stations nationwide. I don't see why it wouldn't. But yeah, again, it's not an NBC showing. Bean going to keep it himself along that right side for the read option, and it's going to be a gain of about 2. An early third down test in the second half. And there's Jordan Teamu along that sideline. I think if Teamu does not get hurt, we see DC in a much better spot. But, I mean, they're still up by 6 in the championship game, so what am I to say? Bean in shotgun back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. Play action going to look to throw. Pressure comes quick. Bean gets rid of it along that right side. But no one's in the area, and Bean is hurt. Jason Bean is down. Yeah, he's in pain. They're going to call that, probably going to rule that a sack. I didn't see a penalty marker down for intentional grounding. Either way, it's a 3 and out for DC, but yeah, Jason Bean's in a lot of pain. It is. I mean, there's nothing different about that sack than anything else, but he instantly goes to hold his left arm after the play. Yes. It's Keaton Ellis being credited for the sack. But yeah, Jason Bean is still down. So EJ Perry is warming up. They're doing a punt it away either way, but EJ Perry is the backup for DC, not Spencer Sanders. I don't agree with this, but okay, DC. Sure. Yeah, that's a tough injury. Yeah, he's in a lot of pain right now. I mean, last year, EJ Perry was with Memphis, and he did not look good at all with Memphis. He was benched multiple times with the Showboats last year. And then the year before that, he was with Michigan, and he did not look good. He was benched for Danny Etling at times. I'm confused why EJ Perry is the idea here instead of Spencer Sanders. My guess would be it would have to be the arm. And that Spencer Sanders just doesn't have the arm that you want in a game like this. A punt comes off clean after 3 and out. Fair caught at the 21, so Louisville will start from there. Yeah, it's going with EJ Perry is certainly a choice. All right, so 1st and 10 for the Kings. Yeah, tables are starting to turn in this, but momentum is shifting towards Louisville. DC can put a halt to that with a good defensive series here. Rogers and shotgun back to his left, 3 receiving options to the right. DC stacking the box. They're going to send some pressure. Rogers deep pass left side, and it's incomplete along the sideline. Couldn't get his feet in bounds. Tariq Black, the intended target. But it's better than what would have been a clear sack. It's a good throw from Chandler Rogers. Puts it to where his guy can get it. Yeah, he just goes out of bounds. And he also drops the ball. Doesn't survive the ground. That's a good throw considering that there was a DC defender instantly in his face. So 2nd and 10. Rogers and shotgun back to his left. 3 receivers to the left as well. Going to hand this off up the middle. And that's going to be only a gain of a yard. Here comes this DC defense stepping up again. 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. This DC defense putting the team on their back for this series. Rogers and shotgun. 3 receiving options to the left, going to look to throw. With some time, pass deep, right side, has a man, it's caught! Pass midfield, Tariq Black. And the Kings have ball out of the 37-yard line, I think. That is the exact throw they've been waiting for Chandler Rogers to make. A great catch. He gets his feet in. He gets a foot in bounds. That's a great catch, a great throw, and the Kings are in business. Rogers and shotgun, back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side, looking to throw again. Ball into DC 38. Pressure coming, steps up, taking it himself. Gonna have space past the 30, enough for the first. It's an 11-yard scramble for Chandler Rogers. And the Kings have the momentum now in this game all of a sudden. 8:09 to play in the 3rd. They're gonna be roughly 28 yards away from tying things up and potentially retaking the lead. And Jason Bean instantly ruled out for the rest of the game, so it will be EJ Perry the rest of the way for the defenders. Rogers and shotgun back to his right, going to look to throw once again. Pressure comes quick, another deep shot right side. Dangerous throw that's luckily incomplete due to some friendly fire by DC defenders there. DeAndre Baker lays a hit on Kai Gray, who nearly had his 3rd. As more so, he trips on Lucky Jackson, the legs collide. Either way, a hit forced the ball loose there and avoiding a 3rd interception on the day. Louisville getting lucky. Oh, and now another Kings player is down. I think this is Lucky Jackson slow to get up. That's a tough blow to that receiver room. No, that's back more so near line of scrimmage. This is an offensive lineman who's down. But so 2 offensive linemen being down already in this game, not good. Yeah, so earlier in this game, Jalen Thomas gets hurt during field goal on the extra point. He was carted off the field. That's their right guard. Now James Tunstall, their left guard, slow to get up and going to be heading off the field. The former Miami Dolphin. And we head to a commercial break due to injury timeout. Yeah, DC is going to be without Jason Bean the rest of the game. So that leaves EJ Perry to be the quarterback. And for those who don't remember him, he spent last season with the Memphis Showboats and not really play the greatest that season. He was benched at times, and Memphis as a whole that year was not good, hence why they're not in the league this year. The year prior, in 2024, he was with the Michigan Panthers, as he was in 2023 as well. In 2024, the Panthers, he also didn't play the greatest. Eventually got benched for Danny Edling. that season, and Michigan was kind of in a rough spot that year before eventually becoming the UFL runner-ups last year. So EJ Perry now going to be thrusted out of nowhere to try and lead this defenders team. Just simply hold on to the lead once he sees the field. We have former Ivy League Offensive Player of the Year, a two-time Ivy League first teamer. EJ Perry going to need to be in a red hot state on short notice, and if they're going to win this one. Oh, really? I'm not getting that right now. That's weird. Louisville Villains could have been a fun name, but I think Kings is okay. I'm not a massive fan of the Kings Brandon or the Kings name. I like the logo and I like the Brandon a bit. I feel like if you're gonna go with the Kings name though, I would have liked to see more so purple as in the color scheme. But I get going with the yellow and the dark green. Trying to link, yeah. I mean, the NFL still has a lot of really fun moments, but the UFL has more so the chaotic moments. Well, I mean, the UFL also has millionaires to wear, but I'm Dolphins first. When the NFL season rolls around, I'll be live with every single Dolphin game, every single primetime game, bunch of games in between. Football as a whole is my sport. I don't care about specifics with football. I just love watching football more than anything. Oh yeah, yeah. It would have made more sense to me, but especially with the name of the Kings. I'm curious about what the Bears are going to look like next year because they surpassed a lot of expectations last season. So this upcoming year can be a lot of pressure on them. As we're just coming back from commercial break, Rodgers and shotgun back to his right. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's some space for a gain of 5 or 6. Gonna make it a more manageable third down. Yeah, the Marlins are on a good stretch right now, but I just don't care about baseball that way. And like the NBA, the NHL about to wrap up their seasons, so yeah, I'm entering the point of the summer where I'm not gonna be paying a lot of attention to live sports, but I'm still gonna be like, obviously, I have NFL offseason coverage coming up next week. Rodgers under center, back behind him. A 3rd and 4, handoff right side. Only gonna get about a yard or so. Rodgers slipped as soon as he got the snap from under center. He wasn't able to really properly hand it off. Yeah, his right foot gets caught. Yeah, so the 4th and 3, and out comes Tanner Brown. 38-yard kick from the right hash. It is up, and it is good. Back to a 3-point game. The UFL does have like league specific commentators occasionally. It depends on how many games are on at a time. And for the stations, like I know Fox typically has like special commentators for like, and most of these two uh stations have their second team is very UFL specific. But I also do get the mindset of why pay more people to call 10 games a year for the UFL instead of just, giving a little bonus to the guys we already have on staff. So it makes sense. Also, that beer snake is now starting to head back down the section. It is a large one. I do not, but I've been keeping up with it a little bit. I think it's just like timing's a bit weird for me typically. But I've been seeing some of the things about that league. Kickoff underway, going to be out of bounds. So DC will start from the 40. As out comes EJ Perry. And last year with Memphis wasn't the greatest of seasons, but still, he does have a decent enough arm and has some good mobility to where as long as he just does enough and doesn't turn the ball over, you might be able to survive with him. The tough part is with the NFL goes and then have 6 weeks before UFL starts typically. We'll see if that changes next year. But I like having a few weeks where I'm just focusing more so on getting ready for the next league. All right, Perry and shotgun. Going to hand this off up the middle for Deion Jackson. That's going to be a gain of 2. Yeah, this is where I fully expect Louisville to be stacking the box and trying to stop the run. Again, the NFL has its issues, but I still really enjoyed. I always find myself going back to old NFL games and then having a good time watching them. Yeah, they could do the NFL could 100% do things better. But I would still much rather have the NFL where it is now than the direction the NBA is seemingly going in. Perry going to keep it himself up the middle on the read option, and that's going to be a gain of about 5, maybe 6. Going to be a third and relatively short. Yeah, it's a 3rd and 3. It was a big time 3rd and 3. You need to build something for this offense, and really just as a whole for this team gets momentum going. Perry and shotgun back to his right, tight end in the backfield, I believe, to his left. They're going to keep it himself with Perry up the middle. And that's going to be close. Should be enough for the first. Will depend on the spot. They're both refs are having him just short. Saying only a gain of 2. It's going to be a long while before the UFL gets a video game because there's not enough teams for it yet. But I do agree. I would love a UFL video game not made by EA. It's a 4th and inches. Perry and shotgun are trying to get Louisville to jump here. Kings are stacking the box. Yeah, they're not going to actually snap this ball. Play clock winding down. There's a delay of game. They're going to push themselves back 5. Give their punter a bit more room to try and pin them deep. So another 3 and out to begin the second half for DC. And out comes Paxton Brooks. I remember back when the XFL was really hitting their stride in 2020. There was talks about an XFL video game potentially being made. And 2K would want to get in on it. Because I do feel like 2K would be the option. As they're trying to get back into the football market in some way. Their NFL game that they were working on did not end up working. And got canceled before it released, sadly. But I do agree. I want football games not made by EA. Although I do enjoy the college football stuff. And the stuff they announced last week for college football and Madden gets me a bit optimistic. Especially with Madden college football, I'm loving what they're showing. Punt comes off clean. It's a great punt. Going to be returned beginning from the 8. Phase past the 15 and brought down at the 16. And yeah, there's Jason Bean on the sideline with his left arm in a sling. That's a tough blow to that offense. I might tune into it because the tough part is like that coincides with Game 5 of the finals tonight, and me and my friends are already set up to be watching that together. One of my friends is a Knicks fan. We've been watching these entire playoffs together. It's been a great time. But I might. Rodgers and shotgun back to his right. 3 receiving options to the right as well. 1st and 10, going to hand this off up the middle, and that's going to be a gain of about 2 or 3. All right, just one more good drive for the Kings here. They could tie this game up or potentially take the lead with a field goal. So 2nd and 8. Rodgers in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Dump off right side for Isaiah Winstead on the receiver screen. And gonna fight his way for another gain of roughly 3. 3 minutes to play in the third. And there is another DC player shaken up after the play. Oh, that's Derek Roberson. Oh, that's a tough blow to this DC defense. That is a very interesting approach to it. Switching from American football. I actually really like how that sounds. That completely changes how the game is played. That's also that beer snake is insane. That is beautiful. How they that gets me interested to tune into it. All right, 3rd and 4 for the Kings. Yeah, that beer snake is crazy. Rodgers in shotgun, back to his right. 3 receiving options to the left. Going to look to throw. Rodgers with some time. Pass right side is caught and brought down at the 29 is Lucky Jackson. Gonna be enough for the first. Kings move the chains. Yeah, without Derek Roberson, they can't get pressure the same way. And Chandler Rodgers has a ton of time to let the play develop. No, yeah, you'll never see anything like that in the NFL because there is no standing room only sections like you have in these MLS stadiums. And 2, beer's just a lot more expensive in NFL games. Penalty down before the snap, gonna be a false start against the Kings, so a 1st and 15 coming up. Also, most NFL stadiums do by the can, not by the cup. So that plays a factor as well. So 1st and 15. Rodgers in shotgun, back to his right. Gonna hand this off of the middle, and there's space for Ian Wheeler. Gonna be a gain of roughly 12. And a 2nd and 3 coming up. They're trying to move the ball really well here. So 2nd and 3. Rodgers in shotgun, back to his right. Gonna hand this off once again up the middle, and once again there's space. Another 1st down carry. Up past midfield and finally brought down near the DC 45. It is Ian Wheeler once again on the carry. And this Kings team moving well in position to take the lead potentially if they get a few more yards, and then tie it if they get too many more yards, or just retake the lead if they find the end zone. One more play needed before the end of the third. Yeah. Rodgers in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Going to look to throw. Pass left side, going to be caught by Caden Prather and met at the line of scrimmage for no gain by Sam Kidd as they tried the receiver screen once again. And that should be the end of the third. Yeah, the Cowboys are in such a weird spot because I like what they did in the draft. I like the fact that they didn't really lose a lot of key pieces. They retained a ton of guys. Like Javonte Williams signing an extension, George Pickens being back for 1 more year is nice. Like I like what a lot of what the Cowboys did is just can they actually prove it on the field and actually find success this time? Who knows? As 15 minutes remain in the United Bowl. Like I'm starting working on my NFL offseason stuff. So I wrote stuff down for the AFC and NFC East over the past 2 days. So that would be the first two divisions up. Okay, Caleb Downs is going to be a great player for them. Malachi Lawrence is going to be a stud. I'm really high on him. Part of it is the UCF stuff, and I'm kind of biased, but Malachi Lawrence is such a great player. Like he was the face of UCF football for a long time on that defense, and like he's just fantastic. You Dallas fans are gonna love him. Yeah, having to go towards the beer snake is not going to be easy. But that's part of this game being in DC. You have to manage it. Yeah, appreciate you tuning in. We got 15 minutes to go into United Bowl. Yeah, but he's still a Hall of Famer. He's still one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. It's just Miami could never get it done with him. They had that one chance against San Francisco, and then they couldn't build the team properly. It sucks, but that's the nature of it. Not everyone that's ever played football can win a ring. Sadly, he is still remembered as one of the greatest. He also still got a ton of money, so that's the plus. Yep, at commercial break. Yeah, I could see it. And because I could also see Josh Allen be like, yeah, like the Marino, the Phillip Rivers almost. Like my thing is like I like Josh Allen is such a fun player to watch. If he was on any team besides Buffalo, obviously like not the Patriots or the Bills, like he would be my favorite player to watch. And I'll be rooting for him constantly. But like they need to get over the hump soon. Buffalo needs to get over the hump soon. If they don't, we might be seeing Josh Allen in a different uniform. Because you can only keep him there for so long without making a Super Bowl. Phillip Rivers was a really fun quarterback to watch at times. Rodgers in shotgun back to his right, two receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off up the middle, and there's space for Ian Wheeler. It's a foot race for the end zone. To 10-5, the Kings have the lead. First play of the fourth quarter. And the Louisville Kings go 45 yards and in to retake the lead. Just like that. Too easy. DC tried stacking the box. Ian Wheeler found a lane and took it from there. That was the drive the Kings have been waiting for. Finally, the offense finds the end zone. And they're an extra point away from taking a 4-point lead. Too easy. Just too easy for Ian Wheeler. That's now his second 45-plus yard touchdown in back-to-back weeks. He had the game-sealing touchdown against St. Louis last week from 51 yards out. That one from 45. The extra point from Tanner Brown is up and good. And there's a penalty down now as well. Try is going to remain good. Yeah, that's just too easy. Beautiful blocking up front. Everyone for DC thought that was going further outside. It was a nice inside carry for Ian Wheeler. That's too easy for him. Too easy. All right, 4-point lead for the Kings. If the defense can make one more solid stand and give this offense a chance to extend the lead, it could be a long game for DC. All right, kickoff underway. Going to be returned with space out past the 20, 25, past the 30, 35. And Eric Ezukanma is brought down right around the 40, maybe down to the 44, depending on if they rule him on his feet or not throughout most of that second bit of it. So out comes EJ Perry and his DC offense. Only 6 yards of offense in the third quarter for DC, compared to well over 200 in the first half. And they're going to need something here offensively, but that's not going to help. Xavion Valade, slow to get up after the kickoff. That is not going to help their chances. Yeah, 89-degree day in DC for this game. That's a hot one. And we're going to head to injury timeout here. Yeah, this game is going to run so far over a lot of time. I am kind of nervous, actually. Because this game is supposed to only got 10 minutes left. It started at 3 p.m. due to other stuff that ABC had. And just scheduling wise, like 3 p.m. is not a bad start time for this game. It's just, I don't think they expected to be entering the fourth quarter with only 10 minutes until 6 o'clock. Yeah, I am kind of actually worried that this game's gonna go too far over time. Because I would not be surprised if my local ABC cuts this game off early. And this is a tight game in the fourth. I want to be live for all of it, but I've had bad luck with ABC and the UFL in the past. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think anything. I'm hoping that they just move this over to like ESPN News or something, if need be, instead of just cutting it off from ABCs across the country. I think I have another way to watch it, if I'm not mistaken, through ESPN3, but I would again rather just this game still stay on TV. But they're running well over time. Now ABC themselves doesn't have anything like specific until later, until like 7 maybe, but still, you never know with local networks. But we're at commercial break. All right, should be coming out of commercial break here soon. Yeah, they're running well over time. All right, just getting back from commercial break. Still early on into the fourth quarter. I mean, there's been one offensive play in this quarter so far. And it was the 45-yard touchdown for Ian Wheeler. DC with really good starting field position at roughly the 44-yard line. Perry in shotgun back to his right. Two receiving options to each side with an extra lineman in the game. Man in motion left to right. Perry going to look to throw for the first time. Deep shot left side for Cornell Powell. Is caught, but there's a penalty down. Powell gets inside the 20, but there's going to be a push-off. That's a clear offensive pass interference against Cornell Powell. DC's coming back from this. DC's being pushed back. That is clear and obvious. We're going to replay first. Yeah, that's a clear push-off. Yeah, that's a clear push-off. All right, 1st and 20 after the offensive pass interference. Clock winding down. 14 minutes to play in the game. And DC will have to burn a timeout. They're not going to get the snap off in time. That's their first timeout. It's a tough time to blow one. Yeah, things are starting to fall apart for the defenders. In week 7, the first meeting between these two teams, DC gave up 27 unanswered in the second half and lost after being up 13-3 at one point. I think it was 24 unanswered. Either way. And already in this one is 13 unanswered for the Kings from the start of the second half. And that was a 1st and 20 for DC. All right, Perry in shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to each side. Going to look to throw. Pressure coming, stepping up. Going to be brought down for only a gain of about 3. I'm not seeing anything about this game continuing elsewhere. I'm nervous. So 2nd and 17. Ruling a 2nd and 16. Okay. Perry in shotgun back to his left. Gonna play action and look to throw. Pressure comes quick. Tipped at the line and incomplete. 3rd and 16 coming up. Jaheim Thomas on the pass breakup instantly. It's a 3rd and long. Yeah, that's great defense by Louisville. They've been stepping up in this game. So 3rd and 16. Perry in shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Going to look to throw. Perry with some time. Stepping up. Deep shot over the middle. Has a man that's underthrown and intercepted. It's Cameron Datzler, the former Miami Dolphin. Has some space. Returned up past the 40. Past the 45 to 50. Past the 40. 35. Past the 30. Breaking some tackles inside the 20. We're inside the 30. Down to the 25. A great return from the interception. And the Kings are fully in business to extend this lead. That's the play that they were hoping for there. The first interception of the game for this defense. I don't hate the throw. He just throws it way late. Eric Ezukanma has a step. If that ball is thrown earlier, it might be there. Instead, it's thrown late. It's underthrown. And the Kings are fully in business. They have all the momentum now in this game. Talk about tables turning. This has been a complete flipping of the script. The 3rd turnover forced in this game by this Louisville defense. Rodgers in shotgun back behind him, 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna play action and look to throw. Dump off left side. Gonna be caught with some space. It's Isaiah Winstead for a gain of roughly 10, depending on the spot, maybe 9.5. Gonna seemingly make it a 2nd and inches. Yeah, the second half has been a much different game for Louisville. So 2nd and 1. Rodgers in shotgun back to his left. Handoff up the middle for James Robinson. Gonna be patient and find a hole inside the 10, breaking his way inside the 5 and fighting for the end zone. James Robinson now with a touchdown run. And it's a 10-point lead for the Kings. Soon to be 11 with 12 minutes to play in the game. 16 yards out. It's just getting too easy for the Kings now. This game is looking very similar to week 7. Yeah, this is looking very similar to that week 7 game. But it's been beautiful for the Kings. Yeah, tables have fully turned at this point. Great blocking up front, great hole. Good patient running from James Robinson as well. And he extends this lead. Oh yeah, that's a fun tidbit. Even though this game is in DC, the defenders are on the away team sideline for this game, so they're fully in the heat, whereas Louisville is in the shade on the home sideline. And that's why seeding mattered towards the end of the season. That's why those 2 games these two teams played in the final month of the year mattered. Extra point is up, and it is good. 20 unanswered points for the Kings since the start of the second half. And it's a complete flipping of the script. It matters. As a Dolphins fan, someone that's in South Florida, that matters. Like, it fully matters. Again, and it's part of the reason, it's part of Miami's home field advantage. It's part of the home field advantage typically for DC in the spring. And then now that Louisville has finally found a rhythm, they're running the ball well, their offense is moving the ball well. The DC defense is getting tired, especially with the DC offense doing nothing on that side of the ball. It was the same thing in the first half where the Kings defense was getting tired at points, but they were still managing. Yeah, this ground game, turning it up one. Kickoff underway. Going to be returned beginning from the 10. Space out past the 20, past the 25, up past the 30, and staying on his feet past the 40. Finding some lanes past the 45 and brought down at the 49. Xavier Valade on the return. Another excellent starting field position for DC, just shy of midfield. Let's see what EJ Perry can do. And not been a great game for him. Louisville player a bit slow to get up, going to be helped off towards the sideline here. And with 11:57 to play in the game. Antonio Greer, the player still to get up. Oh yeah, this Louisville running back room has been one of the better rooms since week 1. It's just it took him a while to get things going. All right, 1st and 10. Perry in shotgun back to his right. 3 receivers to the right as well. Hand off up the middle, and there's space for Deion Jackson for the 1st and more. Going to be brought down right around the 36, but there is a penalty down. It's holding against DC. It's coming back. That is now 2 massive chunk yard plays that are called back for DC. The offensive pass interference on the last drive to hold in there. we're getting to the point where DC is making mental errors. Yeah. An 11-point game is by no means over at this point. There's plenty of ways to score. But there's plenty of ways to score, plenty of ways to get the ball back, but it's not been a great sign for DC this half. There's a total collapse. And again, part of that is just EJ Perry. He's not performing too well in the heat of the moment, which I can't blame him too much because he was not expecting to play today. Perry looking to throw, pass right side, going to be caught by Cornell Powell. Space for the first and more. Up past the 30 and brought down maybe at the 29, but there's finally a massive play for DC. It took him long enough, but that's a kind of a dangerous throw by EJ Perry. He's lucky it gets through. And then Cornell Powell does the rest. Yeah, that was nearly batted away. That was dangerous throw, but it gets through luckily. Perry looking to throw once again, pass deep right side, and that ain't gonna get through. It's incomplete. Dangerous throw again, a bit behind of Braylon Sanders on the deep ball. It's Mekhi Gardner on the pass breakup. He nearly had the interception there. He broke on that ball nice. Yeah, that's luckily incomplete. Jeez. So 2nd and 10. Perry in shotgun back to his right. 2 receivers to each side looking to throw. Pass left side is behind and batted away again. Looking for Ty Scott. It's Keaton Ellis on the pass breakup. And behind on the out route makes it 3rd and 10. Yes. You want to try and get him into EJ Perry into a rhythm. But you're at the stage of the game where you can't be doing a lot of shorter stuff and hoping for the best to get him into a rhythm. You need to be pushing the ball down the field a bit. It's just not working. They're in field goal range for Matt McCrane, so they can make it a 1-score game, though. And the good thing is, they've been moving the ball decently well. They're going to give their defense time to rest. As Perry looks to throw once again off of play action, pressure coming quick, sidestepping left, passing deep left side is going to be a great one-handed grab by Braylon Sanders down to the 5. But there is a penalty in the backfield, and this might be coming back. Oh, and there's some pushing and shoving going on after the play. It was holding against DC, but Braylon Sanders is his temper. He is not happy right now. Ton of pushing and shoving. Yeah, that's a clear offensive holding. So another massive play for DC gets called back. That's their 3rd in this quarter alone. And again, it's the mental errors at this point. The offensive pass interference, 2 holding plays. The bad mistakes. And this puts him outside of field goal range for Matt McCrane, I believe. Oh, we're going to have a challenge here by DC as well? Was he challenging for, what, roughing the passer? Or is this going to be a Oh, he's challenging the holding, saying that there was no holding. Okay. Well, the OPI was clear as well. You see the push off on that one. And yeah, they're going to challenge the holding call here. Who are they calling this? They're calling it on 71, I believe. Yeah, that looks like a clear holding. Yeah, DC is going to lose the challenge. They'll lose a timeout. I get the desperation of it, but yeah. Yeah. I mean, Louisville for the past 7 weeks 8 weeks have been a fantastic team. And they're showing it again in this game. Just like they have no they have no quit in them. A very bad first half, down by 9. And now they've rattled off 20 unanswered. Yeah. No, the Orlando Storm are currently outside my window. I can hear the storm brewing. Weather's not great right now. All right, 3rd and 20 after the holding call. DC only 1 timeout remaining. Put them in a tougher spot. They're still in field goal range for Matt McCrane. EJ Perry, quick pass right side, caught by Cornell Powell. Nice spin. Trying to get something going here. Cut in towards the left. Still going to be brought down, probably behind the line. They might say a loss of a yard. But no space to work with there for Cornell Powell. Well, I mean, that same fighting would 100% happen in the NFL after a play like that. So I don't mind it. If anything, I kind of welcome it because it shows that these players actually care. Oh yeah, no, Louisville is light years better than Orlando. That's why I kind of wished that they played again in this game, but I'm fine with those. Wait, DC has to. DC just burned their final timeout with just about 9:10 to play in the game. That's not good. I mean, it was a clear holding on that play. Yeah, Shannon Harris is not happy. I love being able to hear the coaches. Game just going straight up to the refs saying, "Can we call the game both ways?" Because I think there's always gonna be some instances of guys being able to get away with one. It just depends on the nature of the play. All right, a 60-yard field goal for DC to make it a 7-point game. Matt McCrane has hit twice from 60 yards this season. From 60 yards out in the right hash. To make it a 7-point game. Kick is up. It's on the line. It is good. A 4-point field goal in the championship game. We're back to one score. It's a 7-point game with 9:07 to play. That's a beautiful kick. And that kick is why DC is why Matt McCrane has NFL opportunities setting up for him. I had plenty of leg on that kick. That's a beaut. We head to commercial break. 9:07 to play in this one. I'm seeing ABC progressively add 5 minutes to the runtime of this game on the TV guide. That's a good sign. And having no timeouts hurts them drastically, but they're still very much in this, with it only being a 7-point game. Now again, the offense has not been playing the greatest with EJ Perry, some pretty bad penalties going against them. So there's also that, but they're still in this game. All it takes is one lucky drive. We're at commercial break. At the end of the first quarter, it was 3-0 DC. That was the score at the end of the first. As we're at commercial break. At commercial break. Should be coming out of commercial break here soon. And what's been a really good second half for the Kings. Seemingly DC is starting to build something here, but who knows? Yeah, Matt McCrane, man, he's been fantastic this season. Him and Tanner Brown have been great. $60-yard kick, beauty. Yeah, that had a ton of leg on it. Matt McCrane on to send this one down. Hey, there's Jake Bates. For 60-plus yard field goals from, 2 years ago at this point? All right, kickoff underway. Going to be into the end zone for a touchback. Louisville will begin from the 40. A really good starting field position as they look to extend this lead. And out comes Chandler Rogers. 9:07 to play. Much better second half performance from Chandler Rogers and this Kings team as a whole. But I need at least one more drive out of them. First and 10. Rogers in shotgun, back to his left, 2 receiving options to each side. Gonna hand this off going right, and there's stuffed at the line for no gain. Initially looked like there was space for Ian Wheeler, but Kai Gray fills in the hole nicely. It'll be 2nd and 10. But clock is free to run with DC having no timeouts. $8:40 to play in the game. Rogers in shotgun, back to his left. Another handoff, but this time is met instantly behind the line for a loss of roughly 3 or 4. And this DC defense doing their job. Gonna try and get this offense the ball right back. It'll be a 3rd and long. Rogers in shotgun, back to his left. A 3rd and 13. 3 receivers to the left as well. Gonna take it himself up the middle. Design QB keeper. That's only gonna get about 4. So Louisville go 3 and out on what could have been a game clinching drive. So DC will fully have a chance. Down by 7 and plenty of time. They're gonna depend on EJ Perry to lead them to a touchdown drive. Mac Brown on to send this one down. He already pinned them deep once in this game. Punt comes off clean. Going to be returned beginning from the 18. And going to be tripped up to about the 28, maybe 27 for Kiki QT. 7-11 to play in the United Bowl. And it very well might come down to this drive. EJ Perry on the field. An impromptu sighting due to injuries to Jason Bean, the former Brown University quarterback, has the fate of DC in his hands. So 1st and 10. No timeouts remaining. Harry in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receiving options to the left as well. Going to take it himself up the middle on the read option. Going to be enough for the first. A gain of 11. Good start to the drive. Got to keep building with it. So 1st and 10. Harry in shotgun, back to his left. Play action looking to throw. With some time, deep shot over the middle is well overthrown and incomplete. There is a penalty marker down. Is DC ball. It's going to be illegal contact against the Kings. 5 yards, automatic first. Yeah, so 1st and 10. Harry looking to throw. Quick dump off left side. Caught by Cornell Powell. Going to be enough for the first. Another gain of 11. 6 minutes to play. Six minutes to go in this. Yeah, DC has plenty of time. They can just take their time with this. No need to rush. No need to panic. Harry in shotgun, back to his left. 3 receivers to the right. Ball on the Louisville 44. Quick pass left side. Caught, no, dropped by Braylon Sanders. Oh, it was wide open. He got too greedy. The second the ball hit his hands, he turned and looked to run. Didn't focus on corralling it. That's a tough drop. It's a good throw. Yeah, no, you have to catch that ball. All right, 2nd and 10. Harry in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. Looking to throw once again. Quick pass left side. Going to be caught by Kiki QT. Going to be a gain of 8 maybe? Couldn't quite see the out of bounds line to see when he stepped out. 5:15 to play in the game. It's a 3rd and 3. No way to stop the clock unless I want to spike it, but Dog's not going to do that just yet. You have to make sure you don't get confused with the play call. Harry in shotgun, back to his left. 2 receiving options to each side. Tight end in motion, left to right. Harry gonna keep it himself on the read option, diving forward for the first. It's a gain of 5. DC keeps staying alive. Yeah, I think he'll be back in the NFL. He had a really efficient season this year. I think he'll work his way back into at least a training camp spot. We'll see if he then latches on from there, but I think he'll at least get a workout and get a training camp invite. He deserved it after how he played during most of the season. Harry in shotgun, looking to throw in 1st and 10. Dump off right side, caught by Valladay. Gonna try and find some space. Only picks up about 2. The ball comes loose there. Louisville has a clear recovery. They're rolling him down by contact. They're probably gonna take a look at this. There's a very clear recovery by the Kings, but he's ruled down by contact first. Let's see the replay. When is he? Oh, that's close. That is very close. It's 2nd and 8. Perry and shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. No review just yet. Now there's a stoppage. It's the Kings calling timeout. Yeah, I mean, Luis Perez didn't have the greatest of seasons this year. I think part of that is him, finally, it took him a while to get some playing time with St. Louis after being traded there. And he just didn't know the offense. And it's taking him a second to get used to it. I think if he has another full season with St. Louis and has the offseason to work on stuff, I think that we're going to see him play better, but I don't think he's NFL caliber just yet. Really, maybe at all. Oh, the rule and forward progress was stopped on that. Not that he was down by contacts. Yeah, that's not going to be reviewable. Yeah, there was a whistle before that ball comes loose. All right, so the ruled forward progress was stopped. Got it. 3:32 to play in the game. That probably would have been the silencer. 2nd and 8. Yeah, with how much time this drive is taken up, this is pretty much for the game. If we get overtime in the United Bowl, all right, 2nd and 8. Perry and shotgun back to his left, 2 receivers to each side. Going to look to throw. Penalty marker down, pass left side's well off the market, incomplete. Looking for Ezukanma. Might be getting an offside here against the Kings. Yeah, I saw it. You have offside against the Kings, so 5 yards, 2nd and 3 coming up. Yeah, I didn't see the Todd Haley stuff with it because I didn't watch it live. I'm just slowly going through it. But the main stuff that I've been seeing is the AJ McCarron and Perrion Winfrey stuff from that Week 4 game. All right, 2nd and 3. Perry and shotgun back to his right. 2 receivers to each side. Play clock winding down. Man in motion right to left. Perry going to look to throw. Pressure coming quick, stepping up, will take it himself. Enough for the first. Inside the 20, the 15, brought down at the 12. Maybe the 11 they'll give him. Ball at the 11, 1st and 10 DC. This has been the drive they have been waiting for. One more play needed before the 2-minute warning. And game's going to come down to this. 11 yards out for the potentially tie. They might go for 2. Perry and shotgun going to hand this off up the middle. That's going to be a gain of roughly 2. That's a very generous spot initially. It looks like only a gain of 2 for Deion Jackson. Should get us to the 2-minute warning. Yeah, but there's a difference between showing that energy in a way that is constructive and just being angry to be angry. And McCarron kind of walks the line with that. Oh, Perry keeps it himself on the read option for another gain of roughly 2 or 3. And now they'll get us to the 2-minute warning. It'll be a 3rd and roughly 5. 2 minutes to play in this one. 2-minute warning heading to a commercial break. So at commercial break. Yeah. And I get that, again, that's part of it, are you angry in a way that's constructive, or are you angry in a way that's kind of That is how some coaches are, but again, there is a line you need. In a game like how that game was in Week 4, I don't think that was all. I don't think that all of that was necessary, and it clearly did not help. But I do get like, yeah, he was clearly upset at the team. They got shut out in that game. But like, I feel like he definitely could have. Yeah, like Skip Holtz would not be that way in that same situation. That's for damn sure. Like Skip Holtz, like he has his moments, but yeah. Like, AJ's the youngest. He is the most inexperienced of head coaches in this league. This was legit his first time ever being a coach. So like I understand giving him time, and the league is probably going to give him time. But man, it was a rough first year, and like they started to turn things around a bit towards the end. They had a chance in the final week to potentially make the playoffs. They ended up losing to Houston in a very bad loss, but for the most part, it was a solid year. Like obviously, it's not playoffs or anything, but like I'm willing. Like it's a good building block year, but it's just how much time do you really have to build like that? But we'll see. We're at commercial break still. No, if he's gonna be the coach still, he's gonna be the coach in Birmingham. Yeah, I think Chris Redmond should have been coach of the year. They gave it to Anthony Beck, which I get. I mean, 8-2 season, fantastic year with Orlando in their first season. It's deserved as well. But Chris Redmond is my coach of the year. Yeah. All right, just getting back from commercial break. 2 minutes remains, a 3rd and 5. Wishful thinking, yeah. I'm curious who they're gonna get as head coach though in OKC. Imagine they get Sam Bradford to try and keep with that Oklahoma University ties. They probably could. Who was the OKC? Who was the Oklahoma State head coach for years before being let go last year? You can get him back. 3rd and 5. Perry and shotgun back to his right. 2 receiving options to each side. Ball in the 6-yard line. Perry going to look to throw. Pass for the end zone left side is overthrown and incomplete. Looking for Cornell Powell. And it comes down to this, a 4th and 5 from the 6. United Bowl comes down to this. They can still pick up the first down if they get to the 1-yard line. There is still a first down to pick up. Perry and shotgun back to his left. 2 receivers to each side, 6 yards out to keep the game alive. Perry to throw. Louisville sends pressure. Pass left side, well off the mark, and incomplete. The Louisville Kings hold on with 1:52 to go and no timeouts for DC. All they have to do is kneel this one out. Yes, Mike Gundy, thank you. I was thinking of Stan Van Gundy, but that's NBA. Good pressure forced by the Kings. And that's a really errant pass. And the Louisville Kings just have to burn 1:52. And they'll be in their first season United Bowl champions. Chris Redmond, man, he should have been coach of the year. Hats off to him. First year head coach to bring this team from a 0-3 start to a United Bowl championship is very impressive. Rodgers handoff up the middle, gonna stumble forward for a gain of 4, and clock will begin to run. The Louisville Kings are gonna be sealing the deal in 1:35. Oh yeah, next home game is gonna be fantastic for the Kings. I'm excited. Yep, DC has no timeouts. So the Kings just have to kill the rest of the time. Got 1:20 to play, but they can just kneel this one out. Rodgers and shotgun back to the right. They're going to be a bit risky here, trying to pick up a first. Another give for James Robinson. He's brought down at the line of scrimmage. One more play is all that's needed. Oh, and there's a penalty marker down. Penalty after the play. Probably going to get Joe Wallace with something. Yeah, the emotions are starting to flood DC. Much like in week 1. When they had that loss to St. Louis. Yeah, there's Chris Redman. I feel, dang, that's such a great year for him. It was reported that this game was sold out. So I believe that's 20K. It's up there. It's one of the, I think it's probably the highest attended DC game of the season. Probably highest attended for a while. Yep, after the play, personal foul against DC. Automatic first down. So all that's left is for Louisville to kneel this one out. And how fitting in their first year of existence, the Kings get crowned UFL champions. There's the Gatorade bath. Fully deserved for Chris Redman. It's a beaut. Yeah, there was definitely, I would admit there was not, the refs weren't the greatest in this game, but still, the second half was not a good showing by DC. Jason Bean getting hurt also played a massive factor in this one because EJ Perry is not it. And yeah, there's a Gatorade bath. I guess that's Powerade bath technically, as that's the league sponsor. As there's the final kneel down. The Louisville Kings walk into DC, dethrone the defending champs, and are United Bowl 3 champions. In the first season of existence, Chris Redman, first year as a head coach. From week 1, before week 1, I knew that this team had talent upon talent. And they showed it, especially in the final month and a half of the season. It's a great win for Louisville. 20 unanswered points before DC was able to make it a 7-point game. What a win for Louisville. No back-to-back. The Kings have won. And that's it for the UFL this season. Next week begins NFL offseason coverage, beginning with the Eastern Divisions, AFC East and NFC East, as well as going to try and do a weekly video essay, but we'll see. Those will come out when they come out. NFL season is a few months, about a month and a half away or so. I'll be live with every single Miami Dolphin game, every single primetime game, and a bunch of games in between for the NFL as well. Everyone, hopefully stick around and subscribe. It'd be greatly appreciated. Next up is the NFL and the offseason. I'll see you all then. Have yourselves a damn good one. Thank you all for tuning in for the UFL. See you all next time. Peace.